Sahana vavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and maybe not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of the Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are doing the study circle on Sutra Vahini, that is on Brahma Sutras, one of the books on Prasthana Trayam, as we said. So these Brahma Sutras, many people have written Bhashyam, the great monks, including Adi Shankara, Bhashyam, because this is such an important scriptural text. And Swami, the avatar himself, the Paripurna avatar, he was kind enough to put this commentary, because this is a very complicated subject, and Swami made it in very simple things, whereas most of the philosophers, when you read their commentary, it will be all over you. So it is very difficult to comprehend, very complicated subject, but this is important subject, so Swami, for our sake, has put it in very simple language. So there are many sutras. In this, we finished 3 sutras now. So at least first sutra is, what are the qualifications? The whole subject is Brahma Vidya. This whole subject is Brahma Vidya, how to attain Brahman. So that is the whole subject of this Brahma Sutra, Brahma Sutra Bhashyas. The first one says, hey, you want to learn Brahma Vidya, for anything you say, hey, even simply cooking or recycling or physics, chemistry, being doctor, lawyer, always you need some credentials, qualification. We always ask yogyata or qualifications. What is the qualifications we have? And first sutra talks about the qualifications, atato. I don't want to go into that. You know that, and just you go back and verify what are the qualifications. Second sutra says to say, what is Brahman? Everything has come from Brahman. That is what it says. So somebody has, hey, what is Brahman? So it looks very vague, and a lot of people, we talk about Brahman. Brahman is same as Atma. Brahman is same as the Jnana. Brahman is same as Om. So this that talked about this in Taittiriya Upanishad, that boy, Bhrigu, asked his father and guru Varuna, what is this Brahman? Then he says, no. What is Brahman? Brahman is that from which everything comes, and everything is sustained, and everything is dissolved. That means it is that great substratum from which creation, sustenance, and dissolution, everything is in that. So that is the ultimate. So we call that Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, whatever you call, because everybody, but the whole creation comes from that, sustained in that, and dissolved that. That means what all exists is Brahman. That is the second Brahma Sutra, Janmadasi. That means everything, birth, sustain. And the third sutra we said, so how to attain this Brahman? So we need a guidance. First you need qualification, then know what is Brahman. Third sutra we finished. That means all the scriptures came from Brahman. And we talked about Vedas, particularly the example of Vedas. They are called Apaurusheyas. They are not coming from human beings who wrote books like Valmiki wrote Ramayana, Vyasa wrote Mahabharata, but Vedas, they are called breath of God, and they are infinite, and they are there. So they came from that. So we need to have the conviction. That means when you read Vedas, hey, these scriptures are the words of God. Like Swami says, SSSIO speaks, or Sutra Vahini, when you read, they're words of God. We should have absolute faith in God's words. That is very important. The knowledge of the Vedas are important, and faith in the Vedas. That is what we did. And now fourth sutra we started last week, where it talks about what do the Vedas contain? Mainly Karma Kanda and Upasana Kanda and Jnana Kanda. And here he was talking about the various Vedantic axioms. They come from Brahman. So all the Vedas, the main thing they talk, the Vedantic text, they point to only one subject. You go to any Upanishad, whether it is Taittiriya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka, Chandogya, Katha Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, any of these Upanishads, major Upanishads, they point out to the Brahman. That is what we talked last week. And the four major axioms of Brahman are, everybody should know. One is Prajnanam Brahma. That means this awareness itself is Brahman, we talked about. Second is, where is this Brahman? The Guru is telling, Tattvamasi, you are that. That means we are Brahman. So we are not, you don't need to go in search of anything. And third thing is, once you go on contemplating, reflecting on this Tattvamasi, you will realize, I am Atma Brahman. I am Atma, I am Brahman. And go on contemplating on that, you will realize, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. So then, go on thinking you are Brahman, Brahmavid, Brahmaiva Bhavate. Who knows the Brahman, you become Brahman. Because you are already Brahman. We forgot our reality. So the teaching is to realize the Brahman. So that is the whole purpose of life. Swami was very clear. The purpose of human life is to realize that we are Brahman, or we are embodiments of divine love, or Atma, Om, whatever we call, different terminology, but we are that Brahma. Those are the four axioms. Why should we have Brahma Vidya? Only through Brahma Vidya we can get liberation. Something should underline and remember, memorize. Swami clearly said, only, that is why he said, he didn't say karma, only knowledge of the Brahma Vidya can liberate people from bondage, liberation. Otherwise, you do good karma, you go to heaven, good deeds, you do charity, service, it is good, but again, you will have to repeat the cycle of birth and death. Again, born there, go to school, go to college, job, marry, this and that. You go on having this cycle of birth and death, and we know there are a lot of pleasure and pain. I remember one time that we were having a satsang with this Ramakrishna order monk. And somebody said, you should have the Brahma Vidya to get liberation. The lady asked, Swami, what is wrong? I'm having fun. Why should not, what is wrong in being born again? So perplexed, he didn't expect that thing. He said, no, if you enjoy it, there is nothing wrong. Yeah, be born again, there is nothing wrong. But a lot of people say that this is something when you want, always go to pain. But you enjoy the pain, that is good. Because thing is, when you are going through the pain, you don't know that you are thinking there is higher happiness. We don't know that. Once you know, taste it, these great saints like all these Shankara, Ramanuja, like Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, all these people, hey, this Manusha, that is why we gave a comparison, because we are all happy with that little happiness. Get good food, get good pleasures, nice movie, nice get together. There is very little fraction. They want to say, hey, why do you want to satisfy with this little happiness? Go to the Brahmananda, which is so much higher, you can't even express in words. But you are happy, be happy with that. So that is the thing is, so for that, the solution is Brahma Vidya. That is where we talked about why we should not get attached to the karma work. We should try to strive to get Brahma Vidya. That is where we talked about This we are going to start on the PDF on page 27, and in the book it is different. So this book is 36. What is in your book? What page is this? I don't know anyone you have hard copy. That is different in different books. But in the PDF we sent you page 27. We will start with the topic transform work into dedication. You can start there.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Sairam, brothers and sisters. Before we start, Dr. Reddy, we had a question from last time that was not answered due to lack of time. Should we answer it now?
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so here is a question from the last session. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says not to be attached to the fruits of action, but do the work without expectation of the fruit. Here, Swami says we should not be attached to work. Is this then the second stage of our progression? And when we do that, what do we attain?
Okay. So really I want to make it very clear. Swami said that actually many discourses Swami gave on Gita on different times. And also Lord Krishna. First we should understand what is karma. Karma is nothing but action. So every one of us has to do action. There is nobody who doesn't do action, whether they know it or not. So that is the part, the very fact, only time you don't do action is you are dead. That is the only thing. So that is why Lord Krishna says, Nahi kachit chanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krita. Nahi kachit chanamapi, even for a second, jatu tishtatya karma krita. Nobody is without action. She said, oh no, I'm just sitting still, meditating. Your heart is beating, your breathing is going on. So your mind is working, thinking something. So still that is all action at different levels, because we have three instruments, mind, body, and words. You may not be speaking, but your mind is active, your other organs are active. So very clearly Lord Krishna says, nobody is there without action. Then everybody is doing actions. So this action, when there is an action, there is a reaction. Every action will have a result. If you do good, good. If you do bad, bad. That is what Swami said. If you plant a neem seed, you get neem fruit. If you put a mango seed, you will get mango fruit. Don't come if you put a thorn seed, you will get thorn plant. So similarly, everybody, whatever activities we are doing, to be careful that you do the good so that you reap good action results. If you do bad, you will get bad results. And the actions means it is not only physical action, it could be in the form of thoughts, because sometimes we think negative thoughts, that also is going to give the results. We think it is, somebody may not watch, but God is watching. He is ever witness. He says always, Sarvata Sakshi. He is always watching if there anybody. That is why Swami says Chitragupta means Chittagupta. In secret, he is watching what all we think. You can cheat anybody, but not God. So what we think and what we say and what we do, all of these constitute karma, because these are the three instruments. For doing any action, you need instruments, and God has given each one of us three instruments: mind, and speech, and body. So whatever you think you are going to bound, and God said you have to do that. There's no choice for you. So even God, he says, for me, that means Lord Krishna says, I don't have any obligation to do any work. He says, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam vartayevacha karmani. In these three worlds, I have no obligation to work, because we have obligation, we need to support family, we have to do this. God, he is above all that laws. But still, I do the work. Like Lord, even Swami, we saw till the end of his days, he was working, taking letters, going darshan, doing this. So even Lord Krishna, same thing. Till the end, he was doing work, because to set an example, because you need to show that everybody needs to work. But then how do you work? So work without expecting the results. That is the whole thing, Nishkama Karma. That is the whole teaching of Bhagavad Gita, is that about Nishkama Karma. Yes, you have duty to do, you have to work to do, but do it without expectation of the results and expectation of the doership. Then automatically, so that is the number criteria. That means whole thing is when we are thinking we are the doer, like Arjuna thought he is the one who is killing Bhishma, he is killing Drona, he is killing the war. So he had the doership. That is why he was worried, my God, what will happen? Lord Krishna clearly gave him a lesson. Nimitta matram bhava sabya satin. Swami says it's like a mantra. It applies to everybody. Nimitta matram. That means just you happen to be there as an instrument. You are not doing this. I already killed them. He shows this in his cosmic form, Vishwarupa. All the people are already gone. They are already dead. So you're already gone. So this is just you happen to be. So coming to that question, when you say Nishkama Karma means not expecting two things, not expecting the results and not thinking you are the doer. They say, okay, that means once we do that, that means we won't have results. You will have results. Swami says, that is why people wrongly think that, oh, karmanyeva, this is wrong. Swami is the only unique one who gave the translation correctly. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Everybody says you have obligation to do work, you are entitled to do, but not to the fruits thereof. Swami says that's not correct, because Lord Krishna didn't say na phaleshu, he said ma phaleshu. Na phaleshu means yes, you cannot get the results, you do the work. He says the very fact, the law of karma is whenever you do any work, bound the results. Ma phaleshu means knowingly you give the roses of Krishna Arpanamastu, Sai Arpanamastu, Rama Arpanamastu. Knowingly you know you will get the results, you dedicate it to God. Then you are not bound. That is the secret of work. Then once we do, the whole thing is we are attached to the results of the thing. That is one which causes the anxiety, grief, profit, you get anxiety, loss, you get depressed, somebody praises, you get happy, they criticizes, you will. So all this won't be gone because that is God's thing. So it is dedicated to Him. It is your problem. So that is what He is teaching, dedicate that. But what happened is a lot of these jnanis, dry jnanis, oh, when you do the work, you will bound in the results, you will caught up. They used to say North India, some in Himalayas, saints say, oh, karma mein gir gaya. That means he's got dropped, lost in work. That is true. Sometimes you workaholics, if you don't know the purpose, yes, work is really causes bondage and pain. We should know why to use the work to get us out of the bondage. That is what it is. Then there is a second part of the question, that person, what Swami is telling is when you get rid of the doership and fruits of action, you are equal to not doing any karma. That is what he says. There is no karma. That is called akarma. You should go to the 3rd chapter in Gita. Swami explained also. There are two things called akarma and karma. Akarma is inaction, it looks like, and karma. So the real jnani sees karma and akarma and akarma. I don't have time, it is a big topic. Look at it. That is why people say, I want a nishkarma state. That is why Lord Krishna again says, na karmana manarambhat naishkarmyam purushoshnute. Na karmana, because not doing action, though I won't be bound. Na karmana manarambhat naishka, that stage won't be attained by not doing work. So you have to do the work, but with remembering these 2 points. No doership, Lord, you are the doer, I am the instrument. Go on repeating. Like Sri Ramakrishna used to say, to me, yantri, my yantra. You are the machine, you are the operator, I am the machine. Like that, you always have I am the instrument. Second thing is, you will have the results of the action. You need to dedicate, Lord, it is good or bad, I leave it to you. So then that stage, so it will come by, it will integrate the answer to the question. It will answer the first part, and then the second is equal to a karma stage happens if you do that state. That is a long answer, but that's important concept of karma.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Now we'll start the section, Transform Work into Dedication. However, once in a while, we find the scriptures, Shastras, dwelling on the value of activity. The scriptures are as affectionate to us as a mother. They teach lessons as a mother to her children in conformity with the level of intelligence and according to the needs of time and circumstance. A mother with 2 children gives the strong and healthy one every item of food for which it clamors. But she takes great care not to overfeed the unwell child and gives it only items that can restore it soon to health. Can we on that account accuse her of being partial to one and prejudiced against the other in conferring love? The scriptures also draw the attention of those who know the secret of work, karma, to the value of work. For work can improve life and set its ideal aright. Everyone has to be instructed on how to transform work into beneficial activity. Yet, work is not all. Human life lasts but a moment. It is a bubble on the waters. Upon this ephemeral bubble of life, people build for themselves a structure of desires and attachments. Wisdom warns that it might collapse or crumble any moment. So this section is what Dr. Reddy answered just now. I think it's a good segue into this, where in this section Swami is telling us that we have to transform work into devotion, dedication, and offer all the results to God, and then the work cannot bind us. Another important concept Swami is pointing out here is that God has no favorites, and this reminds me of an incident once. I'd asked a senior devotee that how come when Swami gives a discourse, people understand it differently. And he gave the answer. He said, Swami himself said that people will absorb whatever they can according to their own capacity. And it may not give fruit now, but it may give fruit hundreds of years, decades, hundreds of years, or even thousands of years down the road. For them to understand this, they have to go through the process and reach that stage. But human life is a bubble here. And there is another discourse here, beautiful discourse, where Swami talks about the ocean. That in the ocean there are waves, small waves, ripples, bubbles, froth. He said that as you go up and it becomes lighter and lighter, this is like human life and it is desires and attachments. But as you go down deep in the water, it is calm, quiet, cool, and the depth increases stability and equanimity. And God is like that. So we are bubbles upon the water, but as we keep diving down deep inside, we lose the desires, attachments, and then we can merge with God. So the whole idea is to transform our work into devotion so that we can merge with the Brahman.
Yeah, that is the whole secret of life is, as I said, everyone, whether you are a saint or a sinner or a king or a pauper, everybody is working. So but do the work. Work is a means, not an end. That is what you should remember. Work is a means. That is why Swami is telling, yet work is not all. People are so much absorbed in work. That is why they call workaholics. And even that is why God has everything made into time. That is why Swami said the time is divided in the whole 24 hours God here given. 8 hours is a Rajasic time, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is where you go and office work, do a activity. Then morning 4 to 8 a.m., that is Brahmic time. And similarly, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., that is another time. These are called Sandhyas, where thinking, contemplation of God. That is why they say Brahma Muhurta. That is a very important time. If you want to be in tune with God, that is the best time. That is called Sattvic time. So between 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. So 8 a.m. And then that is 8 hours, that is 8 hours. Then 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. is the tamasic time, where we want sleep and rest because the body and mind work so much in the Rajasic time. In the daytime, you do that. So in the thing is something we don't break a balance. Like sometimes when so much work, so unfortunate, sometimes people don't have choice. I know some of the computer industry, some even of our friends and family, some of the young people I see, they work 18 hours, 16 hours. So that is really, it is not good for both mental and physical health. But just to pray to the Lord to go show you the way. Sometimes people don't have choice, but that is the ideal where Swami says you need to, how to divide. Everything, our scripture said, even Swami said, even the money, how to use. So the time, That is how we need to use it, work for the contemplation. So work should be transformed into worship. That is why Swami made it very simple. One is duty without love is deplorable. That is why nowadays everybody goes, why do they go to either even doctors, lawyers, accountants, and computer scientists? Go to work to get a paycheck and pay their thing. That is, a lot of times there is no love. Duty without love is deplorable. That means no good. It won't take. Duty with love is desirable. You go to this, I want a paycheck, that is okay, but still you feel like you're doing serving your company, serving the people at large, serving the patients. You want them to get better, not just for how much money I get, but you're thinking you're helping somebody out, relieving the suffering, and lawyers helping in just giving justice like that. But the love without duty, that is the highest. That is like a closest, next divine love is the highest, but closest is mother's love. Whether child are good or bad, they still love. I saw so many of my elderly patients when I was practicing that they were rotten, they were doing to drugs, they were even exploiting the parents' money, stealing thing. I said, just why don't you write them off? I used to say, why do you want even a, but still, oh no, it is hard because the mother's love is, they cannot get out. That is because that is love without duty. That spontaneously God put that seed. So that is why we should think what we think it is binds, but if you do it with love, it doesn't bind. There is an interesting story I want to share with you here. This is there in Mahabharata. What is called Vyada Gita. Everybody should read. There was this man. He's a very great monk. He was doing a lot of tapas. So he was doing tapas underneath a tree. Suddenly there was a little bird. It pooped on him, just to hear this thing. He got up. He was very contemplative. And suddenly this thing. He got upset and looked at it. And right away, it dropped dead. Then he said, oh my God, I didn't know I have so much power. So after that, he has to go for his alms. He was hungry. He went to somebody's house, and then he says, Bhavati Bhiksha, I want food. And that lady was there. He said, wait. Then meanwhile, she was holy, nice woman. She was serving her husband, doing massage. He came from work. He was tired. He was giving water, massaging his feet, and giving food. And she finished that, and she came outside to this monk. How can I help you? He was very unhappy. How could such a holy man made me wait? So he could see his anger and said so. Then she said, I'm not that bird for you to burn. He was shocked. My God, this happened somewhere else. That means this lady is a housewife. He knows what that happening here. My God, how did you know? He says, you have too much arrogance of your tapas. So I was serving my husband. That is my duty, very important. And I came to also take care of you. But that's not good. Oh my God, how did you get power? If you want to know more about, go to this guy called Vyadha. He's in Mithila. From there, he has to go. The sage is called Kaushika. You go there, he will teach you how to really lead a spiritual life. He goes there, he finds, where is this guy Vyadha? He goes there. He finds that guy is a butcher. He was cutting and he was selling meat, the beef and pork to people. My God, how can he tell me the spiritual knowledge? So that man is so smart. He looked at this, butcher looked at this man, and he said, sir, I know you have come, and I know why you came, and who sent you, and I know what you want to learn. This guy is second time shocked. This guy he's a butcher. The ladies always say, how does he know this guy? But I said, this is not the right place. This is for, you are a Brahmin. I cannot teach you. Come to my home. Let us talk about it. And there, by my karma, I became a butcher. This is my hereditary profession. But I will tell you, he has teach me the knowledge. Beautifully, he says, how do you behave as a householder to attain the same karma, even though it looks like outside is a butcher doing, it can liberate you, you do it. Just few basic things he says, always speak the truth. don't have jealousy about the other people, and give whatever you have in your life, what you earn, you support your family, rest give in charities to people. Read the scriptures. So this is the way. There is nothing big deal. You have to practice it, then you will have that knowledge. So he could have that clairvoyance and read the things, that lady and this person. Just example, how you do your duty with love, without any doership attachment, though it looks like a simple housewife taking care, here a butcher selling this, but they could have that Brahma Vidya, knowledge of the Brahman, because they did with that right spirit. So this is very important. So you need to take a balance, neither get too much into workaholic, which is binds you, neither be lazy and don't do anything, and do every work as God's work. So this is a very important point. So next topic can go.
Next section. Spiritual inquiry begins with the physical sheath and ends in the bliss stage. The Supreme Atma, Paramatma, which is unattached and free from embodiment, has taken up a body and becomes a person. Viewed in gross terms, the body is a material encasement formed out of the food consumed, Annamaya Kosa. Within this sheath there lies the subtle sheath of vital layers, prana, the mental sheath, the sheath of the intellect, and the innermost sheath of all, the sheath of bliss, Anandamaya Kosha. The aphorism, Brahman is the main purport of the Vedanta text, Tattu Samanvayat, makes known that spiritual inquiry involves the journey from the food sheath as the basis to the bliss composed stage. However, the gross has two aspects, the dependent structure and the independent base. So Dr. Reddy explained this very well just now with the example of Bhrigu and his father Varuna. So I have nothing else to add. Over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, this sheets, as I said, which we should see. This also, I want you to go, all of you go dive deep into that. It is, Swami said that this Taittiriya Upanishads. So we have all three bodies, right? Sthola, Sukshma, and Karana Sarira. Sthola means gross body, which we can see. Everybody can see. And then Sukshma, we cannot see. Everybody has that. The Antakaranas, Mano, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. This. So these are the mind, the intellect, and our ego and decisive faculty. These are, and then Karana Sarira, which is Atma. So here when we talk about the sheaths, it's easy. Annamaya Shota is a food sheath, what we see, the body, and its body, its senses, karmendriyas. And then these next three sheaths, the Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, they have become the subtle body, that is the Sukshma Sarira. The Anandamaya is close to the Karana Sarira, Atma. That is why we talked about, even when we talked about Om, the reason we chant Om 21 times is to purify at all these levels, the body sheath, the five karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, organs of perception and action, and then the five pranas, five vital airs, and then we clean up the mind sheaths, and then we go to that. Finally, we go to the bliss sheath. So we talked about how we create five organs of action, five organs of perception, five vital layers, five sheaths. Then only you go to the Atma. So here you need to remember that it is even that man who did so much tapas, that man Bhrigu, he was confused when he says, what is Brahman? But his father gave a clue. That's all. God gives a sign, the teacher. So from which everything comes, everything sustained, everything dissolves. Go and find out. He did tapas. He thought first he so little. He thought his body is the one, everything, because that is what you see. Annam is important. Annam Brahma. Without Annam, if you don't have it few days, what will happen? All will be weak, and it is important, but that is not the whole thing. So then you go to next level. So this tapas is very important. That means austerity, the penance, what we talked about, that Vyadha told practically, be truthful, be charitable, be generous, be study of the scriptures. All these things helps us purify, because that is otherwise you can never reach the goal. The whole thing is purity. So that is what he says. These three things people give up. Lord Krishna says, yajna, dana, tapaha, pavananicha manushi. But that means, why do you have to do all this? Just to purify our heart. Not that it will give you liberation. Doing yajna, we do this yajna, that yajna, it doesn't. This helps you to purify. Same thing, giving dana, giving charities, good deed, but it won't give you liberation. It will purify your heart. Tapas, whatever we do, the austerities, there are many tapas, shariraka tapas, manasika tapas, vachaka tapas. This is all Lord Krishna said, and our Swami said that. What is really tapas? People use the word casually, but what is shariraka tapas? Body level, what is tapas? The clear definition. What is tapas at the mind level? It is clearly given. And what is given at the word level? We talked about vak tapas, telling the truth, telling it sweetly, telling it politely. And same thing, mind level. What is tapas? Manah prasada saumyatvam. Always be calm, unruffled, tranquil. And that is the tapas. People think it's not that. Just when you are tranquil, not agitated, be still, that is manasik tapas. And vak tapas is just telling always be truthful and thought, harmony of thought, word and deed, and not hurt by your words, and be sweet. And sharirik tapas, not hurting anybody physically, and serving the people, like your teacher, your parents, the people who are sick, who are needy. That is shariraka tapas. Like that, tapas not necessarily be putting head down and feet up. So this is all. If you do that, why do we have to do that? Purify our heart. Because main thing is, because we don't have purity, we don't see the Brahman. We don't see that reflection of God. So that is why all our scriptures, Lord Krishna, Swami, Shri Baba, everybody emphasizes, do all this so that our heart gets purified. That's the important practice. Sai Ram and